Yeah, welcome to the Making of Me podcast, where we unpack the moments, challenges, and decisions that shape us to who we have become. Today, I'm joined by Kimberly Peek, creator of Yes Life Projects, speaker, coach, and storyteller, helping people design life that feels aligned and alive and meaningful, especially during midlife transition. Kimberly's story is about reinvention, through life, path twist from divorce and empty nesting to health challenge, and learning that midlife is not a crisis, the invitation uh, invitation to live more intentionally. It's really a pleasure to have you on the show, Kimberly.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, Kimberly, what were some of the challenges or choices that shape you into who you have become today?
So, right as my youngest daughter was getting ready to go to college, I also found out that I was getting a divorce. So, I had been married for 32 years. I had been raising my three daughters for 25 years, and all of a sudden I'm getting divorced. And it was one of those pivotal moments where you feel like your whole identity has just been stripped away all in one moment. I suddenly didn't have anybody to cook for, nobody to do laundry for. I didn't have calendars to manage, which probably sounds like a really great problem to have, right? If you're a mom with a bunch of kids, it's like, oh, that sounds like a vacation. But I caught myself in this situation where I was watching television every night. And are you familiar with Grey's Anatomy? There's 20 seasons of Grey's Anatomy on Netflix. And I started watching all of these episodes and I was getting so invested in their lives. And they were kind of becoming my surrogate family, being an empty nester with no kids in the house. And so one day I said, that isn't really a healthy thing. I have to solve this problem, have to stop spending so much time in front of the television. And so I started to make some changes in how I spent my life.
Amazing, amazing. So you often say that our midlife is a call to adventure. What changed your mindset to make you see it that way?
Well, so all of my kids are gone. And I think a lot of times you have people who, if they haven't spent time developing their own interests, their own hobbies, their own
Yeah.
friendships guided their children and their family's interests, you're kind of lost. And so once I kind of got on board with this idea that I could design any kind of a life I wanted, I really latched onto it. So one of the things I did was I picked up a new hobby. And through this hobby, I met people who would become my second family. They are the people I
Mhm.
rely on. We all rely on each other. But it was because I picked a challenging race that I decided to do. So when I got tired of watching Grey's Anatomy every night, I started going out on my stand-up paddleboard at night to the lake, and I would take sunset pictures. And I was posting them on Facebook, and all my friends would be like, "Oh, that looks like so much fun! I want to go." And pretty soon, I just had this steady group of people. I had two paddleboards, and I would take people out. One of my friends one day says to me, "You know, you should think about taking up kayaking." And it was fall at that point, going into winter. And so over the winter, I thought about kayaking. A friend sent me this documentary about a race called the MR 340. It's 340 miles across the state of Missouri in a kayak or a canoe. And I watched this documentary and I thought, this is the most brutal, insane thing I have ever seen. And then immediately, next thought, I'm in, sign me up. How do I do this? And I mean,
Wow.
it's brutal. It's hardcore. And so I had never kayaked. I didn't own a kayak. I had never camped, and I'm deciding to do this race. So naturally, I got a lot of pushback from people who thought it was extra crazy.
Yeah.
But I do this race. I had just a few months to learn how to kayak and buy a boat. And I met all of these amazing people in the process. And that was truly life changing. And so that was just this beginning of me realizing that I could take on these new adventures. I had complete control over what my future looks like. And I didn't have anything tying me down. My kids were all gone. I'm not married anymore, so I have complete control over my time now. And so then last winter, I met one of my daughters in Tybee Island, Georgia for a race. It was a half marathon. It's called the Tybee Running Festival, and over the course of the weekend, they have a series of races. If you do all of them, you run a full marathon distance. So we did the K on Friday night and the half marathon on Saturday morning, and we called it good. And we had so much fun. We said, we're going to bring our friends back next year. And so this past early February, we just did. We went back and got this beautiful house and had a whole house full of people. But when it was time to leave last year, I wasn't ready to go home. I was kind of depressed. I had been dating at this point and I broke up with my boyfriend and I was just super sad. And so I checked with the Airbnb host to see if I could extend my stay, and they said I could. And then a few days later, I was on a work phone call. I had my laptop with me. I had driven. I had my dogs with me. So again, nothing saying that I couldn't stay. And so I stayed a couple extra days. Then a friend invited me to come see her. And I kept on saying yes to myself. And that kind of became this theme again. I just kept on extending, extending, extending. People would say, hey, you should go do this. And I thought, oh, that sounds amazing. I think I will. So my 4-day trip turned into a week, then it turned into 2 weeks, and then it turned into a whole month. And
Oh,
a friend throughout that said, when are you going to come home, Kim? And I said, I don't know, whenever I feel happy. And it took me about a month until I was content. And I said, all right, I guess I'm going home. But by then I was so hooked on the idea, I decided I would do it all over again this year, except for do it on purpose.
wow. Amazing. Amazing. So how did the endurance sports actually help you navigate our life transition, like divorce and health challenge?
Well, I mean, I think it was that just knowing that I can do hard things, and so
Hmm.
I did that race, and then I went with my daughter and did another running race. But I think throughout the course of doing endurance sports, somebody the other day told me that we call these things type 2 fun, meaning you're not having fun while you're doing it. It's not a in the moment kind of fun. But after you're done, you're so proud of yourself that like, wow, that was really fun. And then you want to do it again. And I think that that is part of it is that you do these hard things. And while you're doing the race, it is not fun, but it is who you become in the process, the
Hmm.
people you meet in the process, and then just how proud of yourself you are because you realize that you persevered. You were able to come up with a plan, a goal, and stick with it and see it through. And just all of the mental challenges that it takes to get out there and train on days that you don't want to. But for me, the biggest thing now is I don't do these things because I'm good at them. I do them because they're of the people I meet, the people I get to surround myself with. I'm getting ready in April to go do the Maui half marathon with my daughter. And the fact that my daughter wants to do all this stuff with me now has just made it so much fun all over again
Yeah.
because I'm not doing it because I'm good. I'm doing it because I still can, which I think is a big difference. And it just brings so much more joy back into it because we're bringing friends, bringing family, and it just makes it fun all over again.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, for sharing. So what does it mean when you say, energy tells the truth?
Ask me that one again.
Yeah. So what does it mean when you say test the truth, tells the truth?
Oh, okay. So, yeah, energy tells the truth. You think about the people who don't want to go on Sunday night, they get the Sunday scaries. They don't want to go to work. They get really depressed, maybe angry on Sunday night. They don't want to get up and go to work in the morning. That's an energy problem. And I never say that you have 100% balance over your energy because we're never 100%, everything is equal.
Yeah.
But there are 6 things I call 6 P's of the yes life that I think if you spend time on each of these things, and sometimes you're spending more time on one than the other, kind of like a seesaw, right? But if you
Yeah.
would spend time on all of these, I think you can come back to yourself and feel whole again. So, do you want me to go ahead and tell you what some of those P's are?
Yeah. Yeah. Really
Okay.
appreciate
So
it.
So, people, you need your people. We know from studies of people who live long, long lives, this is one of the most important thing. We are wired for community. So we have to have our people. So if you are feeling off, maybe you need to reach out to some friends, spend more, get around people instead of secluding yourself. When I was going through my divorce and also my breakup, there were days where I would have friends come over and we would, have sit by the bonfire or whatever. And I would spend the whole time wishing they would go home. And they know this, but I would spend most of my time wishing they would go home. But it was still the best thing for me to be around the people. And eventually it helped pull me out of the sadness that I was in. Another P is presence. Are you able to be where your feet are? Are you able to stay in the moment? Are you able to, when you get stressed, instead of reacting, take a deep breath and calm yourself. Come back to yourself. Because we cannot thrive when we are in that fight or flight stage. And so if we're scared, if we're in panic mode, we can't do our best at anything. So presence is one of the P's. And that's a skill. That's a mindset skill. That's a meditation skill. That's a whole skill to
Yeah.
learn. Perspective. Perspective is being able to see that sometimes two things can be true at once, or being able to zoom in or zoom out, look at things from different angles. Purpose. I believe we all need to have a purpose, and it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you have to do something big. It can be whatever it is that makes you want to get out of bed in the morning. For me, my girls are my greatest purpose. My children, raising good humans has been the greatest thing. I will forever say that was my purpose, was to raise these great kids. But what else gets you out of bed? I love doing my podcast. I love doing my sports. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be some big world changing thing, although it can be. Okay, I don't think I said this one yet. Physicality. Physicality is just taking care of your physical body. So, exercising, because we know that exercise is a great antidepressant. It's good for our heart, it's good for our weight, it's good for our blood sugar, it's good for our mindset and our mental health. It's also the flip side of that is what you consume, what you put in your body and your environment. Like, what are you listening to? What messages are you letting come into your body? That's why people go to church. It's why people listen to upbeat music, why we listen to podcasts, is so we can fill our minds with that good, positive stuff that helps us become the people we want. And then my favorite that I think is important is play. Play is medicine. We have to play. We are taught at some point in our lives that play is frivolous, that it's extra, that it's not grown up, it's only for children. And I think when you stop playing, I mean, life is too serious. We're meant to have fun.
Yeah.
And so for me, my endurance sports, the stand-up paddleboarding, the kayaking, that's all play. But it doesn't have to be a big event. It could be playing cards or maybe you're into needlepoint. You needlepoint or you knit, you crochet, you meet your friend for coffee. It's whatever you find fun. So those are my 6 P's. And I think that if you put time and effort into all of them,
Yeah.
you are going to live a happier, more fulfilled life. And when one of those, when you're all multiple are off or one is just drastically off, that's where you have issues where you're not really feeling at your best. You're not feeling like yourself.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think this really speaks volume because a whole lot of biography I've got to read. At the end of the day, most of them sometimes regret at their old age, being that they didn't relate with a whole lot of person they get to know very well in terms of people. Some of them do regret to being that they didn't live in the present if they keep chasing more like cloud in here and there. And also, some people at the end of their life end up chasing money, and after chasing money, they use the money to actually more like work on their heads. We speak volumes as well, physicality, and it just speak volumes. So yeah, as much as you keep on kind of chasing everything you chase, yeah, be physical, get your shape in place, and yeah, this is really, really amazing. Perspective, purpose, and play. Yeah, it's really amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, Kimberly.
Thank you.
Yeah, Yeah. So how did you rebuild identity after major life changes?
Give me that one again. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So how did you rebuild your identity after major life changes?
So I think I looked at those six P's. I used those six P's as
Mm,
tools, and I started doing all of these things. One of the things though, when I was getting out there, I found a new hobby that I found challenging and it was empowering. I met all these new people who I go on camping trips with these people now. We go on these bike rides we've gone ridden our bikes all across Kansas, all across the state of Nebraska. We're doing Michigan this summer. And so part of it is just finding a new community to get excited
mm,
about, to spend time with. But I also there was a phase in there where I was really, really depressed and I just could not pull myself out of it. And so I did what I called dopamine stacking. So, like habit stacking, and dopamine
yeah.
is our feel good chemical. And so I thought, well, what makes me feel good? I like to run. Running always makes me feel better. If I go
Always.
for a run, it doesn't matter what kind of mood I'm in. If I go for a run, I feel better. And I would make myself a playlist. Certain music will make me feel better. So I would make myself a playlist and run, and I would layer two things that made me feel good. Sometimes you're running at sunrise. So I love looking at the sunrise. I love looking at the sunset. So there's just like a third layer on there. And so I would just layer things. Like, how many good things can I do at the same time that, fit together, that work together, that will elevate my mood? So that was another one of the things I did. And then the act of traveling, I also talk about a pattern interrupt. When we are at home all the time, we get into this rut. We wake up every morning, we do the same exact routine. We forget to look at our surroundings, we're not in awe of anything. And so, one of the things I think that helps with some of the traveling that I do now is that I always have something to be excited about. It
Mm,
gets you out of your routine, so you're noticing your surroundings more. You can be in awe. You can be grateful for this experience. And gratitude is another one of those things that helps you move on in life when you feel like life has knocked you down.
yeah.
Finding something. There is, in every day, there is something you can be grateful for.
Yeah. So true.
I also had breast cancer 10 years ago, and that was something that one of my friends taught me. She told me, I thought this was great advice. She told me, every day, take a picture of one good thing that happens. And, for most people, can be having a cancer diagnosis, can be one of the worst things that has happened in their life. And so you're kind of like, really? I'm gonna take a picture of something good in this worst time of my life? But you know what? It worked. It totally worked. I go back and I look at those pictures and I'm amazed at how many good things happened to me during that time of my life. And I will always say that I would never wish something like that on anyone. But I also think I have never felt so loved in my life as when I was going through my breast cancer treatment.
Mm,
I've never felt so loved in my life. And I think that I wish that we all could feel that kind of love at some point in our lives while we're still alive, while we can see it and experience it.
yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. So lastly, for someone listening in midlife who feels stuck, what does designing a life that feels alive actually require in real life?
Think that it's important to realize that you have free will. You have the
Mm,
ability to not let life punch you and keep you down. Like, you get kicked in the teeth,
yeah.
you have the ability to rise. And so, knowing that, what pieces of your life can you take control over? And for a lot of people, you can't just completely change your entire life with the snap of a finger. It has to be done in baby steps. And we can't make big changes unless we feel safe. And so, a lot of times,
Mm,
it does require thinking about who we want to become, what we want our life to look like, and then starting to, I use the word install, or think of yourself as an architect or a designer, where you're going to install this new identity or this new life. But it starts with making small choices that you feel are safe. Because if your nervous system is all, oh my gosh, I can't do this,
Yeah.
it's not going to stick. I just got done speaking at a conference this weekend, and it's kind of the same thing. You go to a conference and you're inspired, you learn all of this great stuff, you're really inspired. It sticks in your head for, I don't know, 2, 3 days, and then you get back home and you have to go to work, and you have kids who need you first thing in the morning, you have a dog that needs you, all the things that come at you, and all of a sudden you can't find the time, you can't make the time, you can't work these new ideas back into your life. And so one of the things that I like to think of is that your calendar is a design tool. In your calendar, a lot of us will put only appointments, the doctor, the dentist, your podcast interview, whatever you
Yeah.
have coming up. But do we schedule in there, do we carve out time to exercise? Time to
Mm.
whatever your faith practices, time to go to church. I mean, is it in your calendar as a priority, or does it just kind of fall off and it becomes a I'll do it tomorrow? Because tomorrow is not a day on the calendar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Amazing.
using
Thank you
the
so
calendar,
much, Kimberly.
even if you need to schedule, I just need time to go walk outside and look at the clouds. If you never make time for that, and that's what would bring you peace, put it in the calendar. Put those priorities in the calendar, so that not so you're feeling overscheduled and stressed out, but so the big things get scheduled and happen.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much. Yes, you have free will. You have ability to rise, and we can't make change except we are safe. And I think it's looking forward to a safe place and get to kind of schedule those things that actually make us happy. Yeah, it's really amazing. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for sharing. So Kimberly, for my audience who want to reach out to you, who want to learn more, and who want to reach out to you and listen to you more, how can they reach out, and where is the best platform?
So I would say if they would follow me on Instagram, I would love that. My Instagram is the Yes Life Project. The Yes Life Project. It's even on my hat.
Oh, yeah.
And my website is also the same, theyeslifeproject.com. And between the two, they should get everything that they need. I do have a free download that they can do that has the 6 Ps, and I call it the Energy Audit. So that you can kind of see, maybe it explains the 6 Ps in more detail, and it helps you start to see where your life is maybe out of balance. It kind of gives you a starting point.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Gal. Thank you for sharing your wisdom on reinvention, our energy, and intentional living. For my audience who wants to learn more about Kimberly's work or explore the Yes Life project, check the show notes. You're going to see the link. This has been the Making of Me podcasts, and it's really a pleasure and honor to have you on the show, Kimberly.
Thank you. I love talking to you.